Boy, here's a question that feels like it's from the DVDR sleaze thread from back in the day. I feel bad for even asking it.
Oh, you do not. Here we go.
No, I do, because it's about somebody who's no longer with us, who you and I both held in high regard. But this has been out there long enough, and nobody's ever officially addressed it and squashed it. I assume it's going to be squashed. Here we go. Aldo 13S says there are some rather seedy stories relating to Bob Ryder and some of the boys in TNA, and it suggested that he abused his position of power, exchanging favors for pushes. Without going into further detail, can Jeff provide any comment on these stories? And Jeff, I'm not saying that's accurate, but I am saying that was message board fodder 25 years ago.
Yep.
And I don't know that it was fair, and I don't know what you can share, but the floor is yours to respond to that however you'd like.
I think I text you this over the weekend, not about Bob Ryder, but about when you're successful.
Yeah.
That with that comes criticism, fair or unfair. I'll say this, and you know, I think Bob would chuckle at this today, him hearing this. But whether it's me and JB or Abyss, the Banny Rooster at times would rear its ugly head. And Bob felt very, very attached to the brand because he was there
Day one.
from day one. And so Bob's style of doing business or negotiating, I'll call it territorial. And so I think a lot of times Bob would use the words my, or it would come across wrong, and not so much we as in my, and he ruffled feathers a lot of times with folks, but he also came from that, I'll call it that message board world. And now today we would know it as Reddit. It can get very opinionated and can kind of go off the deep end, like Twitter, like any form of social media. But Bob, so silly rumors, but I heard them as well too. My dad actually came up to me one time and kind of addressed all that. I said, Dad, go have a conversation with Bob and you'll know. He goes, I know, but Bob just gets himself so wound up. And I mean, Bob would literally, on those contracts that Panda would make him sign, talent would come in on the asylum for one-offs, and Panda didn't want anybody going to the ring unless they had signed the release.
Yeah.
Bob's job was to do that. Sometimes Bob had to get a little wiry to get those things done. Like, you're going to sign this or you can't go out on the TV. And look, of course we would back him up, but Bob would take matters into his own hands and get a little bit out of shape. And that's where the term little Banny Rooster, he'd get a little upset and cackle a little bit, but no, it's all BS.